The holiday season is here, and there's a good chance you're likely feeling the energy, the stress, the challenges around what you're going to be doing this holiday season. And if so, then this video is for you. Welcome, I'm Peggy Oliveira. Thank you for joining me. So, the holiday season, and I say this pretty much every year, I think, can be really difficult for a lot of people generally, but especially the people that are likely watching this video. And if you are somebody that really enjoys the holidays, I am so happy for you, honestly, and please don't think that there's something wrong with you and you shouldn't enjoy them. I am really happy for anybody who feels excited during this time and feels energized by the energy and around and all of that. But I know for a lot of you, there are really a variety of reasons why this time of year can be stressful. And these videos go out on Thursdays. So if you're in the US, you are, and watching this on the day it's released, you have been navigating or about to navigate Thanksgiving. And even if you're watching this a few days later, you're probably still feeling some of the energy from Thanksgiving. And I really wanted to be able to create a space for anybody who might be feeling some pressure, stressed out about how to navigate this time of year, or specific holidays or specific gatherings. Not necessarily to tell you how to navigate them, but mostly to give you a space to just be together in community, and to offer maybe a couple of reminders. It is unfortunately pretty common for people to struggle. And a lot of that has to do with the expectations sometimes that we put on ourselves, that other people may put on us, and also the expectations that we have as a society that we're hearing and seeing all around us, whether it's on commercials or in movies or hearing friends talk about things or coworkers. We're kind of constantly inundated with these ideas of spending all this magical time with people and our families and how they're the most important things in our lives and all of those things. And if that is somebody's reality, that is incredible. But I know for most people, all of that is not generally a person's reality, particularly when it comes to just the way that we're expected to feel and to show up, and certainly when it comes to family dynamics during the holiday season. So first, if you are finding some stress around this time of year, you're not alone. And while that might seem kind of insignificant of a concept, I think it really is important to allow yourself to recognize the reality of that. Because so much of the struggle sometimes, especially when there's all these expectations, can be that there's something wrong with me. If I were stronger, if I were better, if I had done things differently, my family would be different, or just all different kinds of things. So it creates this big sense of isolation and often shame. So being able to really kind of let yourself feel the truth that whatever you might be struggling with, that you are not alone in that struggle, can be really helpful, because it helps you, when done intentionally, it can help you recognize the reality that there are a lot of people who struggle with this. And because of that, with that awareness, okay, therefore, it isn't just me. If other people struggle in a similar way, then the problem isn't me. I'm not the one creating this difficulty. There's a reason that this is happening. So the idea of not being alone in something is much more significant, generally speaking, than just kind of the surface level, I get it sort of thing. Both are important. But I think it can be really important when you feel kind of alone or isolated to remind yourself of that. I also want to remind you that however you might be struggling, whatever you might be feeling, whatever you might be wanting or not wanting, it's okay. There isn't a way that you should feel, and anybody who tells you that you should clearly doesn't understand the reality. And so while it might be somebody whose opinion you value generally, being able to recognize that people form opinions and even ideas that they hold from a perspective. And sometimes it's simply because they've heard it over and over again, because it's society's expectation. So just because somebody, even if it's somebody close to you, says that you should or you shouldn't do something, it's important to recognize that it is an opinion and that maybe their opinion is based on not having a full picture or understanding of something. Because I know that that is something that a lot of people struggle with, especially when it comes to like family dynamics, or even like if there's a work Christmas party and you should go to this Christmas party, even if there's somebody there who, and maybe because nobody else knows, or maybe they do, and that's even worse, but like you don't necessarily want to go to this Christmas party because maybe you have a coworker that makes you feel really uncomfortable. The person telling you you should go doesn't have the full picture. Or if they do have the full picture and they're still telling you to go, that's a whole other sort of issue. But again, they clearly don't understand the reality of the circumstance. So that's important to keep in mind as well. And this is true all year long, under so many different types of circumstances. But I also want to share a reminder that setting boundaries is not only okay, not only important for your healing, but setting boundaries around things, people, or places that will keep you from continuing to be harmed in some way is healthy. It is healthy. And you and that little one inside of you deserve to be in a situation in which you can feel safe, in which you can feel the freedom of just going about your experience or your day without worry of somebody harming you. And when I say harming you, certainly that could be physically. And for some of you, I know that that is your reality. I also want to be very clear that the harm that can come is not just physical. The harm comes from the reinforcement of being dismissed, of potentially being ridiculed, of maybe even having somebody who is verbally aggressive or harmful in some way. And when I say dismissive, it doesn't have to be like an aggressive act towards you, even verbally. It could be passive aggressiveness. It can be just an ongoing pattern of being treated in a way that is not healthy. And you deserve to be treated in a way that is healthy. And I know that saying no, setting those boundaries, feels incredibly challenging in so many ways. And this time of year, it can feel even more difficult. And part of healing is being able to honor in a way that is protective, in a healthy way, that is protective of your energy, of your heart. Because every time you re-experience something, especially in a family dynamic or a dynamic that you've been in for a long time where you've experienced different types of hurt or hurt over a long period of time, when you experience it in your current life, it's not just one day that you experience something bad or difficult, particularly when it's the same person. It's reinforcing all those other times. So the impact that it has is not just about that moment in time for that day. It's reinforcing the beliefs, the fears, the doubts, which can create other types of difficulties in your current day-to-day life, how you're feeling about yourself, how you choose to show up. One of the things that can happen often after, even if it's just like a family gathering for just some random reason, people will sometimes, like if they're in therapy, they'll go to therapy and they'll talk about it, and that's great. Sometimes because of the impact that it has, and sometimes they're not even aware of the impact because it's such a familiar experience, sometimes people will actually cancel their next session because of the reinforcement that it creates. It can cause them to pull back from that relationship. And it can bring up a lot of different things. And part of it is maybe feeling embarrassed. It can be that it's reinforced that you don't deserve to have that space. It can reinforce self-blame, that it's my fault because I continue to put myself in this position. You might even feel embarrassed about that. So the impact can be quite significant, even if in the moment it doesn't necessarily feel like it is. So whether you're just kind of working through recovering from Thanksgiving or your random Thursday or whatever family get-together you might be having in the coming month or so, and really any time, try to be really mindful and intentional about creating spaces and opportunities for you to feel safe, for you to be around or in energy that feels supportive and conducive to your healing. I'm not going to suggest that you just say, no, you're not going to spend time with any of the people that potentially could harm you, because it would be great if it were as simple as just making that decision, but that is not the reality. But I would encourage you to try to be really mindful of how you're kind of navigating that. So thinking about, like, if you know that something is likely going to be really stressful for you, what can you do ahead of time in preparation? Maybe it's a month out. What can you start doing to help kind of protect yourself and your energy? What can you set up so that you maybe limit your time that you're there? Maybe you create a circumstance in which you connect with a friend afterward, or have a friend kind of on standby, so to speak. And maybe you're that friend for somebody else too. If you are in a stressful situation, being really mindful and intentional about doing something for yourself afterward that can help calm your nervous system, that can remind you that you're not alone and that you don't have to navigate this all on your own. So being really kind of preemptive about some of these things. And if you know that you're going to be around people that are going to stress you out or just bring up a lot of things that are impactful to you, try to be really, really intentional about self-care and self-compassion. And the self-care doesn't have to be something really significant. It can be some of those things that I just suggested, like having those things in place, thinking about how you're going to do that. But and even just like being an introvert, if you're going to end up being around a lot of people, like, okay, I'm going to try to make sure that I don't schedule a bunch of things with a bunch of people kind of all back to back. So giving yourself permission to say no, maybe to certain things, giving yourself permission to limit the amount of time that you're there, and reminding yourself that it is natural for a lot of people to feel a lot of things at this time of year. And there is no one way that you should feel or one way to navigate this, that you should navigate it or shouldn't. So ultimately, I just want to remind you to take care of yourself, to honor what you need, even just paying attention to what you might need, and then working to honor it, because those are different things. So just take care of yourself. If at all possible, try to spend some time, even if it's just conversing via messaging, and certainly in person if that's available to you. But trying to make sure that you are spending time and energy with people that do not add more stress to your life, that you don't have to worry about, or that you end up coming away from that situation feeling bad or depleted in some way. So try to be mindful of all of those things. I'd love to hear from you. Share what came up for you in the comments. And wherever you are in the world, I hope that you've had a beautiful day, whatever day you're watching this. And I'm wishing you all a peaceful holiday season, whether you're celebrating anything or not. We can't escape it because it's everywhere around us. So take care of yourself. We've got this. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.